What if Hollywood's boldest hero was really running from his own shadow? Errol Flynn's legend began in Hobart, Tasmania, where teenage Beryl collected expulsions the way other kids collected stamps. Each new school promised discipline. Each week, he answered with fresh mayhem, stealing apples from the headmaster's desk, sneaking off to flirt with the mayor's daughter, and sparking fistfights that left teachers speechless. By 16, he was tall, raw-boned, and convinced that life only mattered if it felt like a dare. So he bolted for New Guinea, a mosquito-swarmed frontier where no trespassing signs were suggestions. He planted tobacco that never sprouted, hunted for gold dust that mostly turned out to be fool's gold, and bragged that he once wrestled a croc, just to see if it would blink first. Whether he exaggerated or not hardly mattered. The boy was already turning himself into a myth, and myths never worry about footnotes. But Hollywood hadn't even met him yet. A nobody sails to stardom overnight. By 1934, Flynn was flat broke in London, sleeping on a friend's sofa and daydreaming about adventure. One rainy afternoon, a casting agent noticed his sea captain stride and asked if he could fence. Flynn lied, like an Olympian, and landed a tiny part swinging a cutlass for 10 seconds of screen time. The camera loved him. Studio bosses noticed. When Warner Brothers searched for a fresh face to headline Captain Blood in 1935, Flynn crushed the test. Lean frame, mischievous grin, and just enough rough edges to feel dangerous. Overnight, he leaped from nobody to matinee king. 2 years later, he was swashbuckling through Sherwood in the adventures of Robin Hood, trading lightning-quick banter with Olivia de Havilland and performing half his own stunts after dawn workouts that started with cold plunges and ended with sword drills. Ticket lines coiled around the block. Gossip columnists warned that Flynn's off-screen appetite might scorch his on-screen glow. The parties soon became front-page news. The mansion lights stayed on till dawn, and so did the rumors. Picture sunset in Beverly Hills. Flynn's hillside home already thumping with jazz, bartenders shaking champagne cocktails, a tiger cub prowling the patio as a conversation piece. Guests tossed keys in his silver bowl. Nobody planned to drive home. Hollywood's press corps camped at the gate, desperate for a photo of whatever happened next. Flynn's favorite prank was to fire blanks from a flintlock pistol when the clock hit midnight, shouting, "Gentlemen, defend the honor of your century!" The revelry felt harmless until it wasn't. In 1942, 2 teenage girls accused him of crossing every line. The trial painted lurid scenes of yacht trips gone wrong. A jury cleared him, yet the slang, "in like Flynn," stamped his reputation forever. Brilliant charm with a dangerous loophole. Privately, industry friends whispered that his charisma could shapeshift into entitlement faster than a rapier flash. Yet an even darker file was already forming in Washington. Spy or scapegoat, the dossier nobody expected. While headlines obsessed over parties, another set of eyes watched quietly. Federal agents. Wartime America feared enemy influence in Hollywood, and Flynn's friendship with Austrian doctor-adventurer Hermann Urban raised red flags. Bureau notes described late-night yacht meetings, coded letters, and a casual remark praising German efficiency. Did those scraps prove intent, or just reckless talk? Historians still argue. Some say Warner Brothers quietly leaned on officials to hush the file, worried box office gold might tarnish. Others insist Flynn's globe-trotting ego put him in rooms where spies listened and flattered. In 1980, biographer Charles Hyam shouted, "Nazi agent." Decades later, newly scanned memos left the verdict hanging. The mystery keeps breathing because the evidence never nails the coffin shut. Perfect fuel for internet sleuths hunting vintage intrigue. Meanwhile, his love life spun just as wildly. 3 weddings, 4 kids, 0 peace. Flynn's first bride, Lily Damita, matched him jab for jab. They eloped in 1935 after a week-long courtship that began when Flynn jumped on stage to rescue her from a feigned faint during rehearsals. Their marriage sizzled, crackled, and finally scorched, yet produced son Sean, whose green eyes mirrored his father's eyes. Enter wife number 2, Nora Eddington, a courthouse clerk who served coffee during Flynn's trial and found herself swept into his world days after the verdict. She offered calm but endured paparazzi storms while raising daughters Deirdre and Rory. Wife number 3, Patrice Wymore, brought Midwest steadiness and a fresh career duet in the western Rocky Mountain. Their daughter Arnella arrived in 1953, giving Flynn one last shot at domestic normalcy. Unfortunately, normalcy never fit his wardrobe. Racking hotel bills, yacht repairs, and hush money payouts kept him juggling creditors like flaming torches. So he looked for paradise somewhere else. The pirate finds a Caribbean hideout. In 1953, he sailed into Port Antonia, Jamaica, inhaled salt air tinged with cocoa, and decided he'd discovered Eden. He bought Navy Island, 15 lush acres once used by the British Navy, then built a white stucco villa, a thatch roof bar, and a dock big enough for his beloved yacht, Zaka. Every sunrise, he paddled a surfboard around the cove, shouting jokes to fishermen. Locals recall him tipping musicians with gold doubloons left over from a prop chest. More important, Flynn spotted a tourism gold mine, bamboo rafts long used to float bananas down the Rio Grande. He said, "Add cushions and city folks will pay to drift." Today, guides still call it Errol's Route, steering travelers past waterfalls while retelling how the Hollywood pirate imported glamour and cash. For a moment, the island slowed his chaos until tragedy flew across the Pacific.
Then tragedy crossed the ocean and knocked on his door. Sean Flynn rode into war and never came back. Sean inherited both looks and wanderlust. Acting bored him, history thrilled him. By 1966, he carried a camera into Vietnam, selling photos to Time and dodging mortar rounds for adrenaline. On 6 April 1970, he clutched a motorbike throttle beside fellow reporter Dana Stone and vanished into Cambodian jungle roads ruled by Khmer Rouge fighters. Search parties found only abandoned bikes. Flynn's ex-wife, Lily Demita, burned through savings chasing leads, mossy helmets, rumors of jungle prisons, charlatans selling secret maps. DNA digs in 2010 and 2024 proved false hope. Each forlorn update stabs the family anew and sometimes overshadows Errol himself, a cautionary echo that adventure exacts its price without warning. Back home, the father was running out of time. Decline came faster than any sword fight. By 1957, moviegoers noticed the sparkle fading. Weight gain blurred his chiseled jaw. Stunt doubles replaced him on horseback. Directors whispered he slurred lines by mid-afternoon, nursing hidden bottles of vodka disguised as mouthwash. Yet he aimed for one last reinvention, hosting a travel series, writing memoirs, planning a stage comeback. Money troubles forced desperate choices, mortgaging Zaka, selling swords from Robin Hood at auction, signing autographs for $5 outside circus tents. In October 1959, he flew to Vancouver to lease Zaka to a wealthy auto dealer. During negotiations, he felt a bolt of pain like hot iron through the spine. A doctor arrived, injected Demerol, and Flynn relaxed enough to swap tales of duels and hurricanes. 20 minutes later, Beverly Adland, still only 17, found him unresponsive. He never woke. Official cause? Massive heart attack worsened by cirrhotic liver and clogged arteries. Proof that endless nights demand a final bill. But the plot twists kept arriving long after the funeral. Files declassify, TikTok amplifies. For decades, scholars dug through trunkfuls of letters, but the general public mostly remembered the green tights and the catchphrase, "I'm ale." That changed when a 2023 short-form doc titled Flynn, Outlaw or Operative dropped online. The creators uploaded high-resolution scans of half-redacted bureau memos. Within hours, teenagers were freeze-framing, zooming, and guessing which blacked-out names sat beside Flynn at nightclubs. Hashtag Flynn files exploded, blending vintage clips with modern slang, like OG wrestled caught slipping in 4K. One storyline suggested he offered intel to both sides just for thrills. Another insisted he was framed by jealous rivals. Regardless of the truth, the internet proved a simple rule: a mystery ages like fine wine, gaining flavor every time someone uncorks new evidence, even if the evidence is mostly smoke. Port Antonio tour guides happily weave each rumor into Sunset Cruise patter. So where does that leave his legend? Hero, villain, or warning label? Errol Flynn leapt across screens as champion of justice, but his real life reminds us that charm can mask chaos, and applause can drown warning bells. Maybe he was only reckless, maybe he carried darker sympathies, maybe he was both, because people are rarely one note. What stays undeniable is the cost: a son lost in war, a body ravaged by excess before 50, families fractured, fortunes squandered. Yet the beam of projectors still catches him mid-swing, smile flashing, blade gleaming, forever in mid-air between triumph and downfall. Next time someone cheers in like Flynn, ask which face they're praising: the fearless outlaw of Sherwood or the restless man who could never outrun his own shadow. Then decide, are we celebrating charm or warning ourselves how easily charm can slip the leash and cut deeper than any sword? The legend reboots for the streaming age. In the last few years, a fresh spotlight has washed over Flynn, courtesy of pristine 4K restorations that hit every major platform. Viewers who once squinted at grainy matinees now see every bead of sweat glinting on his brow as he duels in Captain Blood. The crisp detail revives long-dormant debates. Was that swagger pure technique or a real swordsman's confidence? Film schools pick apart his footwork frame by frame, while lifestyle vloggers gush about his accidental fitness routine, turning 1930s stunt warm-ups into modern workout challenges. Meanwhile, new biographies tried to draw cleaner lines between rumor and record. One bestseller, released in 2025, points out that many spy documents are duplicate leads copied by nervous agents, thin reeds that grew into tall tales. Another author counters with a trove of private letters hinting at coded language, fueling round-two arguments on podcasts and late-night panels. The back and forth keeps Flynn trending, proof that a half-settled controversy can outlive its subjects. The streaming wave also brings nuance to his films that earlier generations missed. In Objective Burma, critics now highlight brief close-ups where fatigue flickers across Flynn's eyes, glimpses of an actor already wrestling inner demons. Younger viewers, raised on anti-heroes, find the cracks compelling. The perfect masks of old Hollywood feel richer when they slip. There's talk of a limited series dramatizing Flynn's Jamaica years, mixing paradise visuals with mounting dread. A reminder that the louder he laughed, the more secrets echoed around him. And so the story loops forward. New tech brightens old celluloid, fresh voices remix faded scandals, and Errol Flynn sails again, half myth, half caution flag, into the feeds of another generation, learning just how long a shadow a bright green feathered cap can cast.